The oak fires crackling in the farmhouse, cinnamon apple candles burning on every shelf, December 15th. 18 people at our Christmas party. My wife's realtor friends mostly. Outside, the wind's whistling through bare branches, frozen ground crunching under boots. I smell diesel drifting from the tractor barn. She asks me to carry boxes to her car, icy driveway. I steady myself, hand on her shoulder. She spins around. You don't even have the right to touch my back. Loud enough for 3 guests on the porch to hear. You're not my partner in anything anymore. Everything stops. A ceramic mug clinks against a saucer. I set the boxes in her trunk. No words. I walk back inside, grab my Carhartt jacket from the hook, and drive to my brother Dalton's place 5 miles north. 3 days earlier, she'd been measuring the barn with a clipboard. I'd asked why. Just updating insurance records, she'd said. 3 days later, I found the papers in her car. She wasn't leaving me, she was stealing my farm. December 12th, 3 days before the party, I'm back from my 5 o'clock fence walk. Thermos empty, boots muddy. The sun's barely up, I can see my breath in the kitchen when I walk in. The coffee maker's off. Corinne's already outside. I look out the window. She's at the barn with a tape measure and that digital camera she uses for property listings, measuring the exterior wall, writing numbers in a notebook balanced on her hip. She's wearing her good coat, the one she wears to client meetings. I pour yesterday's coffee into a mug, heat it in the microwave, watch her through the glass. She moves methodically, measures the door frame, photographs the hinges, steps back, measures the roof line. The cold metal gate latch had burned my hand earlier during the fence walk. Now I'm holding the warm mug, trying to understand what I'm seeing. I walk out, gravel crunches under my boots. She doesn't look up until I'm 10 feet away. What are you doing? She glances at me, then back at her notebook. Insurance update. We updated insurance in July. This is for the renewal. They want photos and measurements now. Her tone's flat, matter of fact, the way she talks to clients who ask too many questions. I stand there. The wind cuts through my jacket. Somewhere a crow's calling. Stop hovering, Vernon. I've got 3 more buildings to document before noon. I walk back to the house. The coffee's bitter. I set the mug on the kitchen table and notice the bank statement lying there. Open, not in the envelope. I sit down, run my finger down the list of transactions. Most of it's normal. Electric bill, feed store, diesel fuel. Then I see it. $2,400 to Hawkeye Land Appraisers. December 9th, 3 days ago. I read it twice. We don't need land appraisers. The property's been in my family since 1885. We know exactly what we have. 320 acres. The house, the barn, the equipment shed. Every fence post, I hear her car door slam. Engine starts. She's leaving without coming back inside. I fold the statement, put it in my shirt pocket. That afternoon, my brother Dalton calls. You and Corinne coming to the Christmas party on the 15th? I'm in the barn, checking the cattle feed inventory. The smell of hay and diesel. My hands are stiff from the cold. I don't know. I'll ask her. She already said yes. Called Maggie yesterday. I'm calling to make sure you're actually coming. You've been scarce lately. I don't answer right away. Outside, I can hear the wind rattling the tin roof. A rhythmic sound. Familiar. I'll be there. Good. Maggie's making her ribs. Earl and Joanne are coming. Maybe 20 people total. Sounds fine. There's a pause. Dalton knows me well enough to hear what I'm not saying. Everything all right with you two? Yeah, everything's fine. You sure? I'm sure. We hang up. I stand in the barn for a few minutes, looking at the covered tractor in the corner, my father's 1960 John Deere. Hasn't run in 15 years. Tarp's dusty, cobwebs in the corners. I walk back to the house. Corinne's car's in the driveway now. She's inside on her laptop at the kitchen table, typing fast. Dalton called about the party. She doesn't look up. I already talked to Maggie. We're going. Okay. I take the bank statement out of my pocket, set it on the table next to her laptop. What's Hawkeye Land Appraisers? Her fingers stop, just for a second. Then she keeps typing. Farm expense audit for taxes. My accountant recommended it. Since when do we need our land appraised for taxes? Since property values in Cedar County went up 28%, we need documentation for the deductions. She closes the laptop, looks at me. Is there a problem? I look at her face. The expression I've seen her use on difficult clients. Patient but firm. Don't waste my time with stupid questions. No problem. She picks up the laptop and walks to the bedroom. The door clicks shut. I get the calendar from the drawer, circle December 15th in red pen, the party. Then I count forward 9 days. December 24th, Christmas Eve. I don't know why I'm counting, just a feeling in my gut. The same feeling I used to get before a storm. Something's coming. Everything changed between those 2 dates, though I didn't know it yet. December 15th. Evening. The party's in full swing by 7. People in the living room, kitchen, hallway. The fire's going strong, oak logs popping and hissing, those cinnamon candles everywhere. Corinne's touch. She's good at staging spaces. Her realtor friends are clustered near the fireplace. 3 women in expensive sweaters, talking about interest rates and market trends. I'm in the kitchen refilling the ice bucket. Through the window, I can see the frozen pond, white under the porch lights. Dalton's at the table with Earl and 2 other farmers. They're talking about diesel prices and spring planting. Normal conversation. The kind I understand. Corinne appears in the kitchen doorway. Vernon, I need you to help me with something. What? I've got boxes in the bedroom that need to go to my car. Client files. I'm dropping them at the office tomorrow. I set down the ice bucket, follow her to the bedroom, 4 cardboard boxes stacked by the closet. Legal size. Heavy. Why didn't you put these in your car earlier? Because I didn't need them earlier. I need them now. I pick up 2 boxes. She grabs her keys and walks ahead of me. The front door's open. Cold air rushes in. I can hear wind through the bare oak branches, the kind of wind that goes straight through your jacket. The driveway is a sheet of ice, black ice, nearly invisible under the porch light. I step carefully. The boxes are awkward, blocking my view of my feet. I feel my boots start to slip. I set the boxes against my hip, reach out to steady myself. My hand lands on her shoulder. She spins around, fast. You don't even have the right to touch my back. Her voice carries across the yard, sharp, clear. You're not my partner in anything anymore. I can see 3 of her friends on the porch, watching. One of them's holding a wine glass halfway to her mouth, frozen. Inside, the conversation stopped. Someone set down a mug. I hear it clink against a saucer. I look at Corinne. Her face is hard, eyes cold. This isn't anger, it's something else, something planned. I don't say anything. I carry the boxes to her trunk, set them inside. She's already got the keys ready. Doesn't look at me. I walk back to the porch. The 3 women step aside. Nobody makes eye contact. I go inside, grab my Carhartt jacket from the hook by the door. Dalton's standing now, watching me. Vernon. I'm heading out. You okay? I'm fine. I walk to my truck, start the engine, drive the 5 miles to Dalton's place. Don't look in the rearview mirror. Don't want to see the farmhouse lights getting smaller. Dalton's wife Maggie's still at the party. The house is empty. I sit in his kitchen for an hour. Don't turn on the lights. Just sit there in the dark, listening to his old refrigerator hum. December 24th, Christmas Eve morning. I'm staying at Dalton's, but I still go back to do the fence walk. 5 o'clock every morning. The cattle don't care about marital problems. They need checking. I pull into the driveway at 9. Corinne's car is there. I can see her through the kitchen window, on her phone, laughing. I'm not here for a conversation. I'm here to get jumper cables. Earl called. His truck won't start. The cables are in my truck bed, under a tarp, but the tarp's frozen solid. Won't budge. I remember Corinne keeps a scraper in her glove box. Her car's unlocked. I open the passenger door, the smell of her perfume and leather seats. I pop the glove box. Insurance papers on top, owner's manual underneath. Then I see it. A folded document, legal size. Yellow sticky note on top. I pull it out, unfold it, quit claim deed. My eyes scan the words. Property description matches our farm, 320 acres, Cedar County, Iowa. Legal language about transfer of ownership interest, her name, and another name, Heartland Development, LLC. Transfer date, February 28th. There's a highlighted section. Agricultural exemption expires upon cessation of active farming operation. I read it again, slower. She's transferring the farm to a development company. In 66 days, my father cleared this land with horses in 1932. His father bought it in 1885. 140 years of Mackenzie blood in this soil. I fold the paper, put it in my coat pocket, close the glove box, close the car door, walk to my truck, get the scraper from under the seat, pry the frozen tarp loose, get the jumper cables, drive to Earl's place, help him start his truck. He thanks me, offers coffee. I tell him I've got to get going. I drive back to Dalton's, park in his driveway, sit there for 20 minutes with the engine running, heat blasting. That's when I understood. She wasn't leaving me. She was stealing 140 years of Mackenzie blood. January 2nd. I'm sitting in a booth at Martha's Diner in Cedar Rapids. Red vinyl seats, cracked in places, the smell of coffee and bacon grease. It's 7 in the morning. The place is half empty. Judith Crane slides into the booth across from me. She's 58, short gray hair, carrying a leather briefcase that's seen better days. Her father was my father's lawyer for 30 years. Vernon, she shakes my hand. Her grip is firm. I read what you sent me. I'd emailed her photos of the quitclaim deed on December 26th, didn't know what else to do. She opens the briefcase, pulls out a manila folder, sets it between us. Iowa Code 9H4, she says. Agricultural land preservation law, you familiar with it? No. Your father knew it well. It's why he structured his will the way he did. She slides a paper across the table. Agricultural land transfers in Iowa require proof of active farming operation in the preceding 90 days. It's designed to protect family farms from speculative real estate transactions. I read the highlighted section. The words blur together, legal language. In plain English? If you can prove you've been actively farming the land, planting, harvesting, maintaining livestock, equipment operation, then the agricultural exemption applies. The land can't be transferred to a non-agricultural entity without special approval, which takes months, sometimes years. The waitress refills my coffee. The sound of the ceramic pot against the cup. I wait until she walks away. What if I can't prove it? Judith leans back. Then the exemption doesn't apply. It becomes marital property subject to normal division. She can sell her interest to whoever she wants. I haven't planted anything in 15 years. I'm retired. Are you? She looks at me. Do you still do the fence walks? Check the cattle? Maintain the equipment? Every day. That's farming activity. Do you keep logs? Receipts? Photos? No. She writes something in a small notebook. Start keeping them today. Every morning, photograph the cattle. Log your fence walks. Save every receipt from the feed store, the vet, the fuel station. We need to build a paper trail. I drink the coffee. It's bitter, strong, the way I like it. There's something else, Judith says. She taps the folder. Any evidence of fraud, forged signatures, misappropriated funds, falsified documents, voids all claims instantly. If she's done anything illegal in pursuit of this transfer, her entire case collapses. I think about the bank statement, the land appraisers. I'll look. Good. She closes the briefcase. One more thing. The transfer date is February 28th. That gives us 57 days. But the real deadline is April 1st. Why? Spring planting season. If you can't prove active farming by the time planting starts, the court will likely rule the farm is non-operational. Game over. She stands, puts on her coat. Wool. I can smell the wet fibers. Keep me updated. Any documents you find, send them immediately. And Vernon? Yeah. Start sleeping at the farm again. Even if she's there. You can't claim you're operating the farm if you're living 5 miles away. January 8th, I move my things back into the farmhouse. Not much. 2 duffel bags, my boots, the steel thermos. Corinne's in the kitchen when I carry the bags in. She's on her laptop. Doesn't look up. What are you doing? I live here. You left. I'm back. She closes the laptop, stares at me. This is pathetic, Vernon. You're making this harder than it needs to be. I walk past her, set the bags in the spare bedroom, the one that used to be my father's office. Small, north-facing window, cold. I sleep there that night. The furnace vents blocked by a file cabinet. I can hear the wind outside, the old house creaking. At 5 the next morning, I'm up, doing the fence walk. I bring my phone this time, take photos of the cattle. 12 head, all healthy. I photograph the fence posts, the gates, the feed inventory in the barn. When I get back, I write everything in a notebook. Date, time, temperature, what I checked, what I found. Corinne's still asleep. Her bedroom door is closed. We've been sleeping in separate rooms since Thanksgiving. I just didn't realize why until now. I make coffee, sit at the kitchen table, open the laptop. Our bank account is joint. I have access to everything. I start going through the statements. 6 months back. Most of it makes sense. Utilities, groceries, her business expenses. Then I see it. September 14th, $3,000 transferred from McKinsey Farm Operating Account to C. McKinsey Real Estate, LLC. October 9th, $4,200. Same transfer, November 3rd, $5,800. December 18th, $5,000. I added up, $18,000. Our farm subsidy payments, the ones that come from the USDA every quarter for maintaining conservation practices. She's been diverting them to her personal business account. I screenshot everything, email it to Judith. The sun's coming up. Orange light through the kitchen window. I can hear Corinne's alarm going off in her room. I close the laptop. Pour another cup of coffee. She walks into the kitchen, sees me sitting there. Her face changes, just for a second. Something like fear. You're up early. Same time as always. She pours herself coffee. Doesn't look at me. Her hands are shaking just slightly. $18,000. Federal agriculture subsidies, diverted to fund her real estate business while she planned to sell the land that generated them. Not just theft, fraud. January 30th. I'm in the barn, checking feed inventory, when Dalton's nephew, Ryan, pulls up in his truck. He's got an envelope in his hand. Official looking. Uncle Vernon, there's a guy at the road. Said he's looking for you. Process server. I walk down the gravel drive, cold wind cutting through my jacket. The man's standing by a sedan, engine running. He's holding a clipboard. Vernon McKenzie? That's me. He hands me the envelope. You've been served. He gets in his car and drives off. I stand there in the wind, frozen ground under my boots. I can smell diesel from the barn, hear a crow calling from the fence line. I open the envelope. Petition for legal separation. Corinne McKenzie, petitioner. I scan the pages, legal language. Then I see the section that matters. Petitioner alleges respondent has abandoned the marital home and farm operation, rendering the agricultural property non-operational and therefore exempt from Iowa Code 9H4 preservation statutes. She's claiming I abandoned the farm, that it's not operational, that the agricultural protection doesn't apply. At the bottom, hearing scheduled February 14th, 2025. Judge Martin Brennan presiding. February 14th, Valentine's Day. I call Judith from my truck. She's forcing the judge to rule on operational status before spring planting, Judith says. Her voice is tight, angry. She's smart. If the judge rules the farm is non-operational in February, you can't undo it by planting in April. What do I do? Bring every scrap of documentation you have, photos, receipts, logs. We need to prove continuous operation despite winter conditions. I hang up, look at the farmhouse. Corinne's car is in the driveway. She's inside, probably on the phone with her lawyer. Celebrating. 15 days until the hearing. February 14th. The courthouse in Cedar Rapids is limestone, built in the 30s. I can hear my boots echoing on the marble floors as I walk down the hallway. Judith's beside me carrying her briefcase. She smells like coffee and old paper. How many people usually attend these hearings? I ask. Family cases? Usually just the parties and lawyers. Why? We turn the corner to the courtroom. There are people in the hallway, 20, maybe more. I recognize faces. Earl from the feed store, Joanne from church, Mrs. Peterson who runs the gossip network at coffee hour, Dalton standing near the door with Ryan. Word got around, Judith says quietly. We walk into the courtroom, more people inside. The gallery benches are half full. I see Corinne sitting at the front with her lawyer. A woman in an expensive gray suit. Corinne's wearing a black dress, professional. She glances back at me, no expression. I sit at the table next to Judith. Behind me I can hear whispers. The rustle of winter coats. Someone coughs. The radiator hisses in the corner. Judge Brennan enters. He's maybe 60, gray hair, reading glasses. Everyone stands. Be seated. The next hour is legal procedure. Corinne's lawyer speaks first. She's good. Talks about how I moved out in December, how I'm not actively farming, how the marriage has been functionally dissolved for months. Mr. McKenzie has not planted, harvested, or operated farm equipment in over 15 years, she says. The property is maintained at a subsistence level at best. This is not an active farming operation protected under Iowa Code 9H4. I watch the judge's face. He's taking notes. Judith stands when it's our turn. She presents the logs, the photos, receipts from the feed store, the vet, the fuel station. She argues that livestock management and property maintenance constitute active farming, especially during winter when planting is impossible. The Agricultural Preservation Statute doesn't require planting in February, Your Honor. It requires continuous operation, which Mr. McKenzie has maintained without interruption. The judge reviews the documents. The courtroom is silent except for pages turning. I can smell old wood and floor polish, wet wool coats steaming in the heat. Mrs. Crane, the judge says, your documentation shows maintenance activity, but does it show farming operation? There's a distinction. Your Honor, Iowa winters don't allow. I understand the seasons, Counselor. He sets down the papers, looks at both sides. Here's my concern. This marriage is 8 years old. This farm is a 140-year legacy. The deed structure is ambiguous regarding whether Mrs. McKenzie obtained ownership interest through marriage or if this remains separate property under the original family trust. He pauses, removes his glasses, rubs his eyes. I'm not prepared to make a final ruling today. However, I am prepared to set a standard for Mr. McKinsey to meet. He looks directly at me. Mr. McKinsey, you have until March 31st to demonstrate active farming operation, not maintenance, not subsistence, actual farming. If you can prove by that date that this is a working farm, the Agricultural Preservation Statute applies. If you cannot, I'll treat this as non-operational property subject to standard marital asset division. My throat's tight. I hear people shifting behind me. That's 45 days, Your Honor, Judith says. I'm aware, Mrs. Crane. Spring planting begins in early April. If Mr. McKinsey intends to claim this is a working farm, he should have no trouble proving it when the season arrives. The gavel comes down. Sound like a gunshot in the quiet room. People file out slowly. I hear whispers. 45 days. Can he even do it? Hasn't planted in 15 years. In the hallway, Dalton catches up to me. Vernon, not now. I walk out to the parking lot. Gray sky. Patches of snow on the ground, but mostly mud. The freeze-thaw cycles have started. Spring's coming, but not fast enough. Mrs. Peterson is standing by her car, talking to another churchwoman. She sees me. They both look away. Across the parking lot, Corinne stands beside three men in suits. Heartland Development. She's smiling. They're shaking hands. I get in my truck, sit there for a minute with the engine running, heat blasting. I walked out knowing half the town thought I was stubborn. The other half pitied me. 45 days to prove I could still farm. I hadn't planted a seed in 15 years. March 1st, Dalton's truck pulls into my driveway at 6 in the morning. He's got Ryan with him. They're both wearing work clothes, Carhartt jackets, steel-toe boots. I'm in the barn drinking coffee from the thermos. The air smells like machine oil and old hay. I can hear water dripping from the eaves. The snow's melting. Mud season. You planning to stand around all day? Or are we fixing that tractor? Dalton says. I look at the corner. My father's 1960 John Deere 4010 sits under a canvas tarp. Hasn't been touched in 15 years. Dust thick on the canvas. Cobwebs in the corners. It's probably seized solid, I say. Probably. Dalton walks over, grabs one corner of the tarp. Ryan, get the other side. They pull it off. Dust rises in the weak morning light coming through the barn door. The tractor sits there. Green paint faded to almost gray. Tires flat, rubber cracked, rust on every metal surface that's not painted. Ryan whistles low. That's a lot of work. 30 days until the deadline, I say. Dalton walks around the tractor, runs his hand along the hood. The nameplate's still there. John Deere, 4010. He wipes away the grime with his sleeve. Dad always said this tractor had one more season in her. He looks at me. Just needed someone stubborn enough to believe it. Ryan's already got his phone out, taking photos. I'll make a list of what we need. Tires for sure, battery, probably fuel pump, filters, belts. We'll need to pull the engine apart, see if the pistons are frozen. We spend the next hour just assessing, making lists. Ryan's good at this. Young enough to know about YouTube repair videos, old enough to have grown up around farm equipment. The sound of wrenches clanking on metal, the smell of WD-40 as we spray every bolt, every joint. Outside, I can hear crows calling, the rhythmic drip of snow melt. Dalton gets down on his back, slides under the engine. Oil pan's rusted through. We'll need to replace that. Add it to the list, I say. By noon, we've got the battery out, the hood off, the air filter removed. Parts spread across the workbench. The tractor looks worse than when we started. Gutted. Ryan stands back, hands on his hips. 2 weeks to get parts, week to install, week to test. That's 4 weeks, and we've got 4 weeks and 2 days until March 31st. No margin for error, Dalton says. We break for lunch. Sandwiches from Dalton's kitchen. We eat standing up in the barn. None of us want to go inside the farmhouse. Corinne's car is in the driveway. She's home. You talk to her at all? Dalton asks. No. Probably smart. March 5th. We've been working every day, dawn to dark. The tractor's starting to look like something again. New battery, new belts, new fuel lines. The engine's still seized, but Ryan thinks if we soak it in penetrating oil for another few days, we might be able to free it up. I'm under the tractor, replacing the oil pan gasket, when I hear a car pull up. Footsteps on gravel. Vernon? I slide out. Thomas Howell's standing in the barn doorway. He's the banker, 65, been at First Federal for 40 years. My father banked with him. His father before that. Thomas. I stand up, wipe my hands on a rag. They're black with oil and grease. What brings you out here? He's carrying a laptop case, wearing a tie under his winter coat, looks out of place in the barn. Can we talk? Somewhere private? We go to the equipment shed. Small building, warmer than the barn. Smells like diesel and old leather. I clear off a workbench. He sets up his laptop. I've been reviewing your accounts, he says. Going back 5 years. Those documents you sent Judith Crane. She forwarded them to me, with your permission. Okay. He opens a spreadsheet. Rows of numbers, dates, transaction descriptions. The subsidy diversions are clear, 18,000 over 4 months. That's straightforward theft. He scrolls down. But there's something else. Something I should have caught 2 years ago. He pulls up a document, scanned image of a loan application, First Federal Bank letterhead, December 2022. This is an equipment loan application, $30,000, for a new hay baler and irrigation pump. I look at the signature line. My name, Vernon McKenzie. The handwriting looks like mine, but I don't remember signing it. I didn't buy any equipment in 2022, I say. Thomas nods. I know, that's the problem. The loan was approved, the money was dispersed, but there's no hay baler, no irrigation pump. The money went into your joint operating account and disappeared into various transfers over the next 6 months. I lean closer, look at the signature. That's not my handwriting. I know. He pulls up another document, one of my actual signatures from a 2019 loan, sets them side by side. See the way you make your M? Yours has a sharp angle. This one's rounded. And your Z in McKenzie, you always cross it. This one doesn't. My throat's tight. She forged my signature. That's what I believe. He closes the laptop. I'm running a full forensic analysis. Should have results in 2 weeks, but Vernon, if this is forgery, if she claimed power of attorney that doesn't exist, that's not just civil fraud. That's criminal. Outside, I can hear the drip of snowmelt. A robin singing. First one I've heard this year. Thomas looks at me. His face is serious, concerned. Vernon, these signatures don't match. I should have caught this when she filed. I'm sorry. March 12th. I'm in the barn, elbow deep in the tractor engine, when I hear boots on gravel. Pastor Glenn appears in the doorway. He's 72, been at Cedar County Methodist for 40 years, white hair, weathered face. He's wearing his good coat, the one he wears for hospital visits. Vernon. I straighten up, wipe my hands on a rag. Pastor. He walks in slowly, looks at the tractor, at the parts spread across the workbench, at Dalton and Ryan working on the fuel system. Heard you boys have been busy. Trying to get her running by the 31st. He nods. Doesn't say anything for a minute. Just stands there. I can smell rain coming. The winds change direction, cold and damp. Can we talk? Just the two of us? We walk outside, stand under the barn eave, gray sky overhead, patches of old snow in the shadows, but mostly mud now. The fields are brown and black, wet from the thaw. I wanted to give you a heads up, Pastor Glenn says. His voice is quiet, careful. Coffee hour after service on Sunday. It was uncomfortable. Uncomfortable how? People are talking. About the hearing, about you and Corinne. He looks at his boots. Half the congregation doesn't know what to think. Some folks, Mrs. Peterson and her circle, they're saying you abandoned her, that you're being stubborn, that 8 years of marriage should count for something. What's the other half saying? That she married the farm, not the man, that blood earns land, marriage doesn't. He looks at me. I'm not taking sides, Vernon. I can't. But I wanted you to know, it's divided. Sunday morning, 3 people changed pews to avoid sitting near Maggie and Dalton. That kind of divided. A cold rain starts. Light at first, then steady. It drums on the tin roof above us. I can hear it hitting the mud, the gravel, the truck beds. Appreciate you telling me. There's something else. He shifts his weight, uncomfortable. Corinne came to see me last week, wanted me to talk to you, wanted me to tell you that you're making this harder than it needs to be, that you should just split the property and move on. What did you tell her? I told her I'd pray on it. He looks at the farmhouse. Corinne's car is there, curtains drawn. I've been praying, still don't have an answer. But I'll tell you this, whatever happens on March 31st, you've done right by your father's memory. You've fought for it. That counts. He walks to his car, drives off. The rain's coming down harder now. Cold. Spring rain, but it feels like winter's last stand. That afternoon I drive to town. Need parts. The feed store's on Main Street. Earl Jenkins has run it for 30 years. The bell over the door rings when I walk in. The smell of seed corn and leather work gloves. Earl's at the counter doing paperwork. He looks up. Vernon. How's the tractor coming? Getting there. Need some hydraulic fluid and a set of spark plugs. Let me get those for you. He disappears into the back. I stand at the counter, waiting. Two other customers come in. Farmers I recognize from church. They see me. One nods, the other pretends he doesn't. Earl comes back with the parts, rings them up. That'll be $48. I hand him $60. Keep the change. He looks at the bills, then he reaches under the counter, pulls out two 50-pound bags of seed corn. Here, you'll need these for planting. I didn't order seed yet. I know. Consider it a loan. Pay me back after harvest. He hefts the bags, carries them to my truck, sets them in the bed, pats them once. Some of us remember what your daddy did for this town during the drought of '88. Gave away half his hay stores so other folks' cattle wouldn't starve. Mackenzies don't quit. Don't let the gossips tell you different. He walks back inside before I can say anything. I drive home. The rain's steady. Not hard, but persistent. The kind that soaks into everything. March 15th. We've been working on the tractor for 2 weeks straight. Dalton had to go back to his own farm today. Spring planting prep. Ryan's still here, but he's got to leave by 4 for his shift at the co-op. I'm in the barn, adjusting the carburetor, when I hear it. An engine. But not a truck. Deeper, heavier. I walk to the barn door, look across the south field. A surveying crew, 3 men in bright yellow vests, they're planting stakes, orange flags on top, fiberglass stakes, 3 feet tall. Every 50 feet, they plant another one, marking property lines. Subdivision lots, I watch them for 10 minutes. They work methodically, professional. By the time they're done, there are 20 stakes across the south field. From the fence line to the access road, each one looks like a small tombstone. I pull out my phone, take photos, send them to Judith. She calls back in 5 minutes. She's getting bold, Judith says, acting like the sale's already done. Can she do that? She can survey. She can plan. She can't actually sell until after March 31st if you meet the farming deadline. There's a pause. But, Vernon, she clearly doesn't think you will. I hang up, walk back into the barn. Ryan's under the tractor, tightening the new oil pan bolts. Those stakes are just markers, Uncle Vernon. They don't mean anything yet. They mean she's confident. Then we prove her wrong. February 26th, 3 weeks earlier. Thomas Howell sat in his office at First Federal Bank. 10 o'clock at night. The building empty except for security. He'd been at this for 6 hours. Going through Vernon's loan history, comparing signatures. The 2022 equipment loan kept bothering him. He'd seen Vernon's signature hundreds of times. On loans, on farm subsidy paperwork. On the mortgage his father took out in 1985, the 2022 signature looked close, but not quite right. He pulled up his contact list, called a colleague in Cedar Rapids, forensic document examiner, retired FBI, did consulting work now. Jim, it's Thomas Howell. I've got a signature I need analyzed. Can you fit me in tomorrow? The next day, he drove to Cedar Rapids, brought the 2022 loan application, brought 5 other documents with Vernon's verified signatures. Jim ran the analysis, scanned everything, used software that measured pressure points, stroke patterns, angle of approach. 2 hours later, he delivered the verdict. These don't match. The 2022 signature is skilled forgery, someone who had access to examples of his writing. But look here, he pointed to the screen. The M in Mackenzie. Vernon's natural stroke has a 45-degree angle. This one's 60 degrees. And the Z, Vernon crosses it, always. This one doesn't. Not once in 3 places where his name appears. Thomas felt something cold in his chest. How sure are you? 98% this will hold up in court. March 15th, present day. Thomas called Judith Crane from his car, put her on speaker. Then he called Vernon. 3-way conference. I've got the forensic results, Thomas said. Rain drummed on his windshield. He was parked outside the bank. Jim completed the analysis. The 2022 equipment loan signatures don't match Vernon's handwriting. Statistical certainty, 98%. Did she claim power of attorney? Judith asked. We have no power of attorney on file. Not for that loan or any other. She would have needed specific documentation. It doesn't exist. Judith's voice was tight, excited. Thomas, this isn't civil theft anymore. Forged signatures on federal agricultural loan documents? That's bank fraud. Title 18, U.S. Code, Section 1014, federal crime, 5-year maximum sentence. Vernon's voice came through, quiet, controlled. What does this mean for the March 31st deadline? It means her entire legal foundation just collapsed, Judith said. She claimed you were a negligent farm operator, but she was the one committing fraud. We file an emergency motion to void the February hearing. We argue that her claims were made in bad faith, supported by criminally obtained funds. This doesn't just protect the farm, Vernon. This destroys her case completely. Thomas could hear Vernon breathing, processing. How long until we can file? I'll have it ready by Monday, Judith said. March 18th, emergency motion. But Vernon, keep working on that tractor. We still need to prove active farming operation. This fraud evidence strengthens our position, but we need both, the legal defense and the physical proof. They hung up. Vernon stood in the barn, looked at the tractor, then looked out at the orange stakes across the field. The rain kept falling, steady, cold, but somewhere underneath the ground was warming. March 20th, spring equinox. The tractor runs. Not smoothly, it coughs and sputters, black smoke from the exhaust, but it runs. Dalton turned the key at 2 in the afternoon. The engine caught on the third try. Ryan whooped. I just stood there listening to it, the sound my father used to wake up to every spring. Rough idle, cylinders misfiring, but alive. We let it run for 20 minutes, then shut it down. Still work to do. The hydraulics are weak. One tire has a slow leak. The clutch slips. 11 days, Ryan says. We can have her field ready by the 30th. Dalton wipes his hands on a rag. Then we plant on the 31st, right? I look at the calendar on the barn wall. March 31st falls on a Monday. Right. But I don't feel the victory I should. The tractor runs. We have seed corn. Judith's filing the emergency motion Monday. Everything's coming together. So why does the farmhouse feel like a tomb? That evening, Dalton finds me sitting on his porch. I drove over after dinner. Couldn't stand being in that house anymore. Corinne's there, but we don't speak. Just ghosts in separate rooms. Dalton comes out with 2 mugs of coffee, sits in the chair next to me, the porch lights off, just the darkness and the sound of frogs starting up down by the creek. Spring peepers, first time I've heard them this year. What's eating you? He asks. I don't answer right away. Take a sip of coffee. It's too hot, burns my tongue. I've been thinking about what happens after. After what? After we win, after we plant, after she leaves. I set the mug on the porch rail. I'll be alone in that house, 67 years old, no wife, no kids, just me and 320 acres. Dalton's quiet. The frogs keep singing. Somewhere an owl calls. You think Dad didn't feel that way after Mom died? He says finally. He was 71, alone in that house for 3 years before he passed. You remember what he did? Kept farming. Every day, 5 in the morning, out checking the cattle, even when his hip was bad, even when he could barely walk. You know why? I shake my head. Because the land doesn't betray you. People do. Love does. But the land, he gestures out at the darkness, the fields beyond. It's still there every morning, waiting, needs you. That's more than most people get. I think about that. The cold metal of the thermos in my hand every morning, the crunch of frozen ground under my boots, the cattle looking up when I come over the rise. Simple, constant. You ever regret it? I ask. Never leaving, never seeing what else was out there? Every farm kid thinks about leaving. Most do. You almost did back in '82. He drinks his coffee. But here's what I learned. The world out there doesn't care if you exist. The land does. These 320 acres know your footsteps, know your father's, his father's before him. You walk away from that, you're not just losing property. You're severing a bloodline that goes back 140 years. The owl calls again, closer this time. What if I die alone out here? You will die alone, married or single, we all do. He stands up. Question is, do you want to die knowing you gave away everything your family built, or do you want to die knowing you held the line when it mattered? He goes inside, leaves me with the frogs and the owl and the coffee going cold. I sit there for an hour, thinking about my father, about the day he taught me to drive the tractor. I was 8 years old. He put me on his lap, let me hold the wheel. Feel that? He'd said. That's not just a machine. That's every Mackenzie who ever turned this soil. You're not driving alone, boy. They're all with you. I finish the coffee. Get in my truck, drive back to the farmhouse. Corinne's bedroom light is on. I can see her shadow moving behind the curtain. On her phone, probably. Or her laptop, planning her next move. I sleep in my father's old office, the spare bedroom, small and cold, but it's mine. March 25th, Pastor Glenn shows up at the barn. Dalton and Ryan are test driving the tractor around the equipment shed. The clutch is holding now. Hydraulics working. She's ready. Vernon, Pastor Glenn watches the tractor make a slow circle. That's a beautiful sight. Your father would be proud. Thanks, Pastor. He turns to me. I wanted to let you know, we're having the equipment blessing this year, Sunday, April 1st, dawn service. I stare at him. The equipment blessing. 60-year tradition. Your grandfather started it in 1965. We've only missed it twice. Once for your father's funeral, once for the blizzard of '09. He smiles. Seemed fitting to revive it this year. The equipment blessing. I'd forgotten about it. Every first Sunday of April, the church would gather at our farm. Dawn service. Pastor would bless the equipment before spring planting. The whole community would witness it. People are coming? I ask. I put it in the bulletin last Sunday. So far, 30 confirmed, probably 50 total. He looks at the farmhouse. This is going to be public, Vernon. The whole town's going to see whether you plan or not, whether that tractor works or not, whether you're a farmer or not. My throat's tight. That's a lot of pressure. It's also a lot of witnesses, for the court, for the record. He puts a hand on my shoulder. The town's been divided. This is how we settle it. Old-fashioned way. Let them see for themselves. After he leaves, I call Judith. Equipment blessing, April 1st, 8 in the morning, 50 witnesses. Perfect, she says. I'm filing the emergency motion today. Hearing scheduled for April 3rd, 2 days after your public planning. Vernon, this is good. The judge wants proof. You're giving him a public demonstration with half the county watching. What about the fraud evidence? That's in the motion. Bank records, forensic analysis, Thomas Howell's testimony. If the judge grants the motion, it voids the February hearing entirely. But either way, you still need to plant. The fraud evidence destroys her credibility. The planting proves you're the real farmer. We hang up. Ryan comes over, phone in his hand. Uncle Vernon, I'm going to film everything. April 1st, set up my phone on a tripod, record the whole thing. Why? For the court, for history. He looks at me. His face is serious, young, but understanding what this means. This is the day we prove it. Not with lawyers, with dirt and seed in that tractor. March 31st, 6 o'clock in the morning. The tractor sits in the barn, fueled, oiled, ready. Dalton arrives in the pre-dawn darkness. We don't say much, just stand there, looking at the tractor. Green paint still faded, but the engine's strong now. The tires are new, the hydraulics hum. He walks around it one more time, checks the oil, the coolant, the tire pressure, everything. She's ready, he says. Tomorrow's Sunday. I know. Dawn service, equipment blessing, then we plant. He looks at me. You ready? I think about the question, about my father, about 140 years, about dying alone versus dying defeated. I'm ready. Dalton climbs into the seat, turns the key, the engine roars. First try, loud and strong, diesel smoke in the cold morning air. I walk to the barn door, look out at the north field, still empty, dark soil waiting for seed. Then I look at the south field. 3 yellow bulldozers are parked at the property line, engines off. But they're there. Corinne's development crew, ready to start clearing tomorrow. Same day we plant. The whole town's going to see. One side or the other, the tractor or the bulldozers, the farmer or the developer. April 1st, dawn. Everything comes down to that. April 1st, Sunday, 5:30 in the morning. The sky's still dark, stars fading. I'm in the barn, checking the tractor one last time. The smell of diesel and fresh oil. My hands shake slightly as I top off the fuel tank. Dalton arrives. Then Ryan with his phone and tripod. He sets it up facing the north field, aims it at the barn door. For the court, he says, and for history. By 7 o'clock, cars start arriving. Headlights cutting through the dawn. I hear gravel crunching, doors closing, voices. I walk to the barn door, look out. 50 people, maybe more. They're gathering in the yard between the barn and the north field. I recognize faces. Earl from the feed store, Pastor Glenn in his vestments, Mrs. Peterson with her husband, Joanne and 3 other women from church, farmers I've known for 40 years, young families with kids. Dalton's wife Maggie is setting up a folding table with coffee and donuts, steam rising from the thermoses in the cold morning air. The sun's just breaking the horizon. Orange lights spreading across the fields. I can hear robins singing. Cardinals. The frogs from last night have gone quiet. Pastor Glenn walks to the center of the group, raises his hands. Friends, we're gathered this morning to revive a tradition, the equipment blessing. 60 years ago, Vernon's grandfather, Harold McKenzie, started this ceremony. Every spring, before the first planting, we would gather as a community to bless the machines that feed us, to remember that farming isn't just business, it's stewardship. I'm standing just inside the barn, listening. The tractor's behind me, engine cold but ready. This year, that tradition takes on special meaning. Vernon McKenzie stands at a crossroads. Will this land continue as it has for 140 years, or will it become something else? Today, we bear witness. He turns toward the barn, looks at me, nods. I climb onto the tractor, turn the key, the engine catches immediately, roars to life. Black smoke, then clear. The sound echoes across the field. I can see people smiling, nodding. A few clap. I would drive the tractor out of the barn. The morning sun hits the green paint, the machine my father drove, his father before him. Pastor Glenn steps forward, places his hand on the hood. May this machine serve the land as faithfully as the generations who've guided it. May the soil be fertile, the rain sufficient, the harvest abundant. May those who plant today reap in due season. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen, the crowd echoes. I put the tractor in gear, start driving toward the north field. Dalton's already there with the seed planter. We've got 40 acres to plant. Corn. The same fields my father planted in 1985, my grandfather in 1965. I'm 20 feet from the field when I hear it. Diesel engines, 3 of them, deep and heavy. I look south. The bulldozers are moving. Yellow machines, black exhaust, steel blades catching the morning light. They're coming across the south field toward the property line, toward the same land I'm about to plant. The crowd sees them too. People turn, voices rise. Corinne's standing beside the lead bulldozer. She's wearing jeans and a black jacket. 3 men in Heartland Development polo shirts are with her, clipboards, hard hats, surveying equipment. The bulldozers stop at the fence line. Engines idling, waiting. I look at Corinne. She looks at me. This is it. The whole town watching. The tractor versus the bulldozers. The farmer versus the developer. I turn back to the north field, drop the plow, start the first row. The smell of fresh turned earth, sweet and dark and loamy. The tractor engine's steady roar. Behind me, Dalton's following with the seed planter. Corn rattling in the hopper. I'm halfway down the first row when one of the bulldozers lurches forward, crosses the fence line, blade down, heading for the south field. Hey! Earl's voice, loud, angry. I look back. The crowd's moving, not away from the bulldozers, toward them. Earl steps directly in front of the lead machine, plants his feet. The bulldozer stops 10 feet from him. The operator leans out the window, yelling something I can't hear. More people join Earl, Mrs. Peterson, her husband. 3 farmers I know from church. They form a line between the bulldozer and the field. That's McKenzie land, Earl shouts. Always has been. Ryan's got his phone up, filming everything. The bulldozers, the crowd, me on the tractor. Corinne shouting at her crew to proceed. The second bulldozer tries to go around. Heads for the east side of the field. More people move. Block it. 20 people now, arms linked. I keep planting, row after row. The plow cutting clean lines in the dark soil. The seeder dropping corn every 12 inches. Perfect spacing, the way my father taught me. The morning sun's fully up now. Warm on my face. I can see green grass sprouting along the fence line. Smell wet earth and diesel exhaust and spring. Behind me, the standoff continues. Corinne's screaming, her crew's on their phones, probably calling lawyers. The bulldozers are idling, blocked by 50 people who won't move. Pastor Glenn's standing with the crowd now, silent, just his presence. I finished the first 40 acres by noon, 16 rows, fresh black soil, seed in the ground, first planting on this land in 15 years. I drive the tractor back to the barn, shut it down, climb off. My legs are shaking from the vibration, from the adrenaline, from something else I can't name. Dalton walks over, puts his hand on my shoulder, doesn't say anything, doesn't need to. The bulldozers are leaving, backing away from the crowd. Corinne's already in her car, tires spinning on the muddy field as she drives toward the road. Ryan walks over, phone in his hand. Uncle Vernon, I got everything. 14 minutes of footage. Her crew trying to clear the field, the town blocking them. You planting row after row, all of it. Good, I say. My voice sounds far away. Earl comes over, face red, breathing hard. 67 years I've known your family. Your granddad helped mine during the Depression, gave him seed when he couldn't afford it. This land stays McKenzie, period. People start leaving, one by one. They shake my hand, nod. Don't say much, don't need to. By 1 o'clock, everyone's gone. Just me and Dalton and Ryan. We stand at the edge of the field, looking at the fresh planted rows. 16 rows of black soil, straight lines, perfect spacing. Think it'll be enough? Ryan asks. It'll be enough, Dalton says. April 3rd. Tuesday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the courthouse again, same room as February 14th. But this time, it feels different. Judge Brennan's already reviewed everything. Judith filed the emergency motion 3 days ago. The evidence package. Thomas Howell's forensic banking report, the forged signatures from 2022, the diverted subsidies, Ryan's 14-minute video from Sunday morning. The gallery's full again. More people than last time. They saw what happened Sunday. They want to see how it ends. Corinne's at her table with her lawyer. The lawyer looks tired, defeated. She's arguing technicalities, claiming the video is inadmissible, claiming the fraud allegations are unproven. Judge Brennan cuts her off. Counselor, I've reviewed the forensic banking analysis. I've watched the video evidence. I've read sworn affidavits from 53 Cedar County residents who witnessed Mr. McKenzie actively planting on April 1st. He removes his glasses. The evidence is overwhelming. Mr. McKenzie demonstrated continuous farming operation. Mrs. McKenzie committed documented fraud in pursuit of an illegal property transfer. He opens a file folder, pulls out a single page. The quitclaim deed dated February 28th is hereby voided. The fraudulent transfer is nullified. Mrs. McKenzie is liable for restitution of $18,000 in misappropriated USDA subsidies, plus $30,000 in fraudulently obtained loan proceeds, plus legal fees. He signs the document. Furthermore, I'm referring this matter to the U.S. Attorney's Office for potential federal prosecution under Title 18, Section 1014. The gavel comes down. Corinne stands. Her face is white. Her lawyer's gathering papers, not looking at her. I sit there, not moving, processing. It's over. Judith leans close. You won, Vernon. The farm's yours. Completely. I walk out of the courtroom. People are waiting in the hallway. Dalton, Ryan, Pastor Glenn, Earl. They're smiling, shaking my hand, clapping my back. I feel numb, hollow, like I should be celebrating but can't quite reach it. Outside, the April sun is warm. Real spring now. I can smell fresh grass, hear birds everywhere. Corinne comes out 10 minutes later. Her lawyer's gone. She's alone, carrying a briefcase. Walking to her car, she sees me standing by my truck, stops. We look at each other, 10 feet apart, the whole war between us. She opens her mouth, closes it, then walks to her car, gets in, drives away. I watch her taillights disappear down the street. 320 acres, 140 years. Still McKenzie land. April 5th, Thursday morning. I'm in the barn at 6, oiling the tractor. Maintenance ritual. My hands smell like machine oil, and the metal's warm from yesterday's work. Outside, robins are singing in the eaves. 3 nests up there now. I can hear the chicks chirping, waiting for food. I hear a car door, then another, the sound of things being loaded. I walk to the barn door, look across the 100 yards to the farmhouse. Corinne's silver SUV is backed up to the porch. The trunk's open. She's carrying boxes. Her mother's helping. An older woman in expensive clothes, looking like she'd rather be anywhere else. I stand in the barn doorway, watching, not hiding, but not approaching either. It takes them an hour, box after box, her clothes, her laptop, the staging decorations she'd brought when she moved in 8 years ago, the cinnamon candles, the throw pillows, the framed prints she'd hung in the hallway. The farmhouse is being stripped of her piece by piece. Around 8 o'clock, she comes out with the last box, sets it in the back seat, closes the door, stands there for a moment, looking at the house. Then she looks toward the barn. She sees me. We're 100 yards apart, too far to talk, close enough to see each other clearly in the morning light. She stands there. I stand here. Neither of us moves. Her mother says something. Corinne shakes her head, gets in the car. The engine starts. They back down the driveway, turn onto the county road, drive north toward the interstate. I watch the car until it disappears over the rise. The sound of the engine fades, then just the robins again, and the wind through the new leaves on the oak trees. I go back to oiling the tractor. Dalton finds me there an hour later. She's gone? She's gone. He sits on an overturned bucket, watches me work. We don't talk for a while. Just the sound of the oil can clicking, the rhythmic squeak as I work the grease gun on the fittings. You okay? He finally asks. I don't know yet. Fair answer. He stays for another hour, helps me finish the maintenance. Then he heads back to his own farm. Spring work waits for no one. I walk to the house around noon. The front door's unlocked. I go inside. It's empty in a way that's different from before. When she was here, even in separate rooms, there was presence. Tension. Now there's just absence. The kitchen table is bare. She took the runner she'd put there. The decorative bowl, left the table itself, solid oak. My grandfather made it in 1953. I walk through the rooms. Her touch is erased. The living room's back to what it was. My father's chair, the bookshelf with his farm journals, the window that looks out on the north field. I stand at that window. Look at the rows I planted 4 days ago. The soil's still black, still fresh. Too early for anything to show, But it's there, under the surface, growing. April 10th, Tuesday, 5 o'clock in the morning. The alarm goes off like it has for 40 years. I get up, make coffee in the percolator, the sound of it bubbling on the stove, the smell filling the kitchen. I pour it in the steel thermos, same one I've used since 1987, dented, scratched, still keeps coffee hot for 3 hours. I put on my boots, my Carhartt jacket, walk out into the pre-dawn darkness. The temperature's changed. Warmer now, I can smell it. Wet grass, earth, growing things, rejuvenating. The cold edge is gone from the air. I start the fence walk, same road as always. Check the north fence line first. Every post, every wire, looking for damage, for weakness, for breaks that need fixing. The thermos is warm in my hand. The coffee's black and bitter. Perfect. By the time I reach the north field, the sun's coming up, orange light spreading across the horizon, and that's when I see it. Green, tiny shoots, maybe 2 inches tall, breaking through the black soil, corn. The first planting in 15 years, I kneel down, touch one of the shoots. The leaf is tender, soft, bright green in the morning light. I can feel the dampness of dew on it, 16 rows of green, fragile but alive. I stay there for a few minutes, just kneeling in the dirt, looking at those shoots. My father planted this field, his father before him, now me. The bloodline continues. I stand up, finish the fence walk, check the cattle in the east pasture. All 12 head are healthy, good weight. They look up when I approach. Used to my footsteps, by 7 I'm back at the barn. The morning's work done. I should feel triumphant. The farm is secured. She's gone. The land is mine. But what I feel is quieter than that, simpler. I feel like a farmer, like I've always been, like I forgot for a while. But now I remember. The farmhouse is empty, but I don't mind it the way I thought I would. I keep my father's routines, coffee at 5, fence walk until 7, breakfast, eggs and toast, then whatever work the day requires, fixing fence, checking equipment, planning the next planting. The house is quiet, no one to talk to, no one to argue with, no one measuring things or staging rooms or planning how to sell what I'm trying to keep. Just the sound of the wind, the birds, the cattle, the tractor when I run it. Some evenings I sit on the porch, watch the sunset, the way it turns the fields gold, the way the shadows stretch long across the rows. Dalton comes by twice a week. Ryan stops in on weekends. Pastor Glenn visits every Thursday. We drink coffee, talk about crops and weather and diesel prices. Normal things, honest things. I don't talk about Corinne. No one asks. Earl mentioned once that she moved to Des Moines, living with her mother, trying to restart her real estate business there. Dealing with the federal investigation. I didn't ask for details. That part of my life is over. Late April. The corn is 6 inches tall now, strong, healthy. The rows are straight and green. I walk them every afternoon. Check for weeds, for insects, for any sign of trouble. The orange surveyor stakes are still there in the south field. Corinne's crew never came back for them. I left them, reminders of what almost happened, of what didn't. One afternoon I pull them up, all 20 of them, stack them by the barn. Eventually I'll throw them away. But not yet. I plant the south field in late April. Soybeans this time, rotation crop, the way my father taught me. By May, the whole farm is working again. 320 acres, all of it planted, all of it maintained, all of it McKinsey. Early May, Sunday morning. I'm at church, same pew I've sat in for 60 years. Dalton and Maggie next to me, Ryan on the end. Mrs. Peterson is 3 rows ahead. She turned around before service started, nodded at me. Small gesture. But it meant something. The town's not divided anymore. They saw what happened. They chose sides. Most chose mine. After service, coffee hour. I pour a cup, stand by the window looking out at the parking lot. Pastor Glenn walks over. How are you, Vernon? Good. Farm's good. I heard your corn's coming in strong. It is. He sips his coffee. You know, your father used to stand in this exact spot every Sunday after service, same window, looking out at the land he couldn't see from here but knew was there. I remember. He told me once that farming isn't about the crops. It's about the continuity, one generation to the next. The land remembers who tends it. I look at Pastor Glenn, his weathered face, his white hair. He's older than me, but not by much. You think he'd be proud? I ask, of how this turned out. I think he'd be proud you fought for it, that you didn't give up when it was easier to walk away. He sets down his coffee cup. Land like yours, it's not just property, Vernon. It's a trust. Your grandfather entrusted it to your father to you. You held that trust. That's what matters. May 15th, evening. I'm standing in the north field. The corn is waist high now, green and strong. The rows stretch away from me toward the horizon. Behind me, the sun's setting, golden light catching the leaves. I'm holding the thermos, empty now, but still warm. I'd done the evening check, walked the fence one more time, everything's in order. The house sits 100 yards away, white paint peeling on the porch, needs work. I'll get to it this summer. It's empty inside. No coffee brewing when I walk in, no one to tell about the first robin, no one to share dinner with. I could have compromised. Could have split the land, kept her, kept the company, kept the noise that fills the silence. But every time I look at these green shoots, I know I made the right choice. Some prices are worth paying. Loneliness is steep, but not as steep as losing yourself to someone who sees your bloodline as a real estate transaction. I hear Dalton's tractor in the distance, East Field. He's working late too. The sound is familiar, comforting. I walk back to the barn, the equipment shed where my father's tractor sits, cleaned, oiled, ready for the next season. I run my hand along the hood. The metal's cool now, smooth under my palm. The nameplate is clean. John Deere, 4010, the tractor that brought me back. I close the barn door, walk to the house. The porch light is off, but I don't need it. I know every step, every board, every crack in the concrete. Inside, I heat up leftover stew, eat at the kitchen table, my grandfather's table, the one he made in 1953. After dinner, I sit on the porch, watch the last light fade, listen to the evening crickets start up, the frogs down by the creek, the owl calling from the oak tree. Spring's here, full and alive, the land renewed, and I'm renewed with it. Not young, not fixed, not free of the scars, but clear, certain, rooted. I'm a farmer, always have been, just forgot for 8 years. Now I remember. June 1st, evening. I stand in the center of the north field. The corn is knee-high now, strong stalks, healthy leaves catching the last golden light of sunset. Behind me, my father's tractor sits at the field edge, parked, clean, ready for whenever it's needed next. In the distance, I can hear Dalton's tractor, northeast field, the steady rumble. Familiar, constant, the farmhouse is visible from here. A quarter-mile back, porch light off, empty. But the structure's sound, roof's good, foundation's solid. I don't need someone there to know it's home. They asked me once if I regretted losing her. Wrong question. Right question is, do I regret fighting for what 3 generations built? Some battles you win with words. Some you win by showing up at 5 in the morning when nobody's watching. Legacy isn't what you inherit. It's what you refuse to surrender, even when surrendering is easier. The land remembers who plants it, who tends it, who bleeds for it when it would have been simpler to walk away. I take a slow sip from the thermos. The coffee's still hot, still bitter, still perfect. Evening crickets are singing in the fence line grass, robins settling into their nests in the barn eaves. Somewhere a firefly blinks near the pond, the first one of the season. Young corn leaves catch the last sunlight, translucent green, veins visible, growing. I don't smile, just nod once to myself. Begin walking the fence line as darkness falls. The land stretches out around me, 320 acres, all planted, all green, all Mackenzie. The house may be empty, but the land is alive. April 1st, I proved I was a farmer. June 1st, the land proved it believed me.